of rust, and it's got, any problems that you can see rust in the connection, these are laminated in your office, printed in your office, and then when you go there with your zip tie and you put a zip tie through it, what's the first thing it tells you on every one of these? Contact the official. What's number 2? Have fire escape inspected. What's in number 3? Repaired and load tested. So if somebody sees that on their fire escape because you left it there during your walk-arounds, what are you going to get a call for?
You can rip it off if it would.
No, it says right here.
Yeah, I don't care.
I know.
I was thinking of that.
Some they peel it off moving through the tray.
So the other people that you guys want to utilize during this process is firemen. During their pre-plans, they always go rock around downtowns and do all these pre-plans. Guess what you can use those rookies for? Finding out what the fire escapes are, because they're always down alleyways, they're up and down all kinds of areas where you may not even know there's a fire escape there. Got it? Departmental procedures and guidelines. Again, you can go to our website and just download this. This is changeable. You can put your city website. That's what we would do for you. We would come in and take this out of here, put your city website, take all this out of here, put your name and phone number and contact, put your code right here. It's pretty simple. And this talks about engineers, this talks about vendors, repairing, this talks about paint, talks about EPA. If you don't like it in this format, steal all this information and just drop it into one of your city's informational bulletins and put it on your website. Oh, by the way, write this down. Every violation you will ever write, never write, somebody already took the words out, do not write scrape and paint fire escape. They've been doing that for 50 to 75 years, it's kind of done with. You will only write, I need you to have your fire escape examined, repaired, tested. That's all you're ever going to write in a violation. Don't point out the rail, don't point out a tread, don't point out everything, because they'll make us only examine that. So you're right, I want you to have your fire escape inspected, repaired, and tested. Because when you write that on the violation, say, I need you to have the fire escape examined or tested, examined or inspected, whatever word, because it says the word on the code, it says examination, so I want you to examine your fire escape, I want you to repair your fire escape, I want you to test your fire escape. Because when you write that on the violation and they get it in the mail, what's the first phone call they make? To you when they say, hey, what do you mean examined? And you say, read this document that I sent you, or that's on our website, or you just read, in layman's term, I need you to get a design professional to look at it. And give you a copy of the report, I want the same copy of the report, with photographs preferably. Okay, so what's it mean repaired? I need you to get a professional who's being guided by this guy, not me, to repair the fire escape to meet other satisfactory evidence of strength. Okay, what's load tested mean? That means if this guy doesn't do his job, I'm going to load test your fire escape. So if he does his job correctly, there's no load test. Oh, so that guy just got told that there is no load test, even though it's in there then. So there's an out at this. And what about the painting? What's it mean? EPA says you can't burn on it, and whoever's going to scrape and paint it must collect all the chips on the outside. Be a renovator licensed person. Got it? Again, copy and paste. It's already out there. This is what the tags look like, 11 by 17 in Seattle. Is it clear who did the job? Is it clear when the next inspection is due? Is it clear? So if you want them that big, they're posted 7 to 10 feet on the fire escape. Got it? They have to be clearly on the wall or on the fire escape. Here's what they look like when you go down an alleyway. That's what a white tag looks like in Seattle. Now you can make it smaller, 8.5 by 11. Tells you fire escape has no deficiencies, tells you when the date is, and all this can be read, tells you who inspected it last, who signed off, who fixed it, and such. You need to go back to the office to find out what's the status of that fire escape anymore. So tagging, great idea from Seattle, which is now catching on. Was it a great idea for elevators? We used to be able to see it when we got in an elevator. What did you guys allow the people to do now?
Even in the office.
I can't get in that office. Right? So this is what happened on fire escapes. They allowed to keep it in their file. You know what happened in the file? It was never there. So nobody knew about these fire escapes. But you start tagging fire escapes. So now Seattle, are they fixing fire escapes or are they tagging every fire escape as a local ordinance? every fire escape must have a tag. They don't care what color tag it is. It should be a white, but if you have a yellow and a red, what's it mean? You're in the process of doing something. When you're a fireman running down in the middle of the night in a smoky situation, and he gets to a fire escape, and has a white tag, what's he do?
Use it.
He uses it. So this is actually a safety concern that you have for the current firemen, right? That right now, you've been made aware that firemen have an unspoken rule that in case of fire, never use a fire escape. Not sometimes, render an opinion, call a friend, dial for idea. No. I've been made aware that every fireman walks up to a fire escape and all the stuff that I've been seeing, 50 people stuck on a fire escape, even the firemen bring their own ladders. You know how much time you waste dragging a ladder off a truck when there's a fire escape there and the fire escape's here and you're using a ladder to get into this window? It's a life safety concern. So since the fire department is concerned about the issue, we just want to know the current status of all these fire escapes, and we have a 3 to 5 year program to do what? With every fire escape in my city. Tag it. What condition? The current condition it's in. The ones that are good, guess what they get? White tag. The ones that are in need of repair, guess what they get? A yellow. And the ones that are red, guess what they get? My undivided attention. I will bring my fireman buddies down there, and I'll tell them this one is one of those that when you get here, don't use it. Oh, by the way, some of those other yellow ones, I too would not, because the yellow ones, I'm only giving them 30, 60, 90 days to get those on there. But those are on the watch, on the caution. The white ones, what do you do? Just get on them.
Check the dates.
Oh, this is,
How successful are you at
how successful am I?
like, once you start the process, did you get it done?
Oh, people? I mean, my own success rate. I've seen people not deal with fire escapes for 1-2 years. And only because the local city officials don't know the process, because they're afraid of the political or economical blowback. And we always tell people, listen, here's the answer that I always give everybody so that you don't have, you can always order immediate scaffolding on any situation. You get to a fire escape, I have no money, I'm upside down, foreclosure, you name the situation, say, no rush. Mothball this thing, get a scaffolding in here that will satisfy me and the fire chief to pick up a couple of these windows. Installed by a professional scaffolding company, and I don't want the 24-inch construction stairs, I want 36-inch wide stairs. And I want this examined every 30 days until this matter gets resolved. Let's buy ourselves some time so we can think clearly here. And I need to know who I'm dealing with. Am I dealing with a bank or this guy that's been foreclosed for 4 years and collecting rent, but doesn't have to spend a dime in this place?
So what, after 30 or 90 days, what kind of recourse do you have?
You as the building official and the fire official, who all have the same thing, you can shut the building down. Just shut it down, because you just need to, you can't just come in heavy with a hammer, you know what I'm saying? You gotta say, oh, situation, $38,000 to fix my fire escape. Okay, no problem, $1,000 a month. We'll get a scaffolding company in here, put scaffolding on this, and let's breathe. We'll find the money, go sell the building, do whatever you have to do. But right now, I'll give you a 30, 60-day breathing window, but I need to, me and the fire chief need to be satisfied that his men are safe, and my men are safe, and the tenants are safe. So listen, scaffolding is done that, great, everybody take a breath. 30, 60, 90 days go by, and everybody's kind of thinking around, what do you do? Shut it down. You didn't come in as a heavy guy, you came in with an olive branch, they ate it, you know what I'm saying? So, towers, how many people have ever been in a fire tower? This is one that we examined. How many fire towers are ready to get the rookies and crush their legs?
Probably all of them.
All of them. So this is the thing about firemen, is that they have these fire escape training towers, and they have all of them have fire escapes on them to basically train them how to get onto the building. And on the inside, they have these inside stairs that they pour water and hay, and they make smoke, and these things are rotting on the inside. Look at all that rust, right? So I get there and I start pinging the treads. Look what happened. What happened when I started pinging the treads? All these treads started falling. I decommissioned the thing that day. He goes, what are you doing? I said, what am I doing? I'm saving the firemen before they even get a job. This is just not working.
I'll save the city a whole lot of work.
I'm saving the saviors. That's what I'm doing. I'm saving the savers.
A whole lot of workers' comp claims.
See, I don't want them suing people outside, I want them suing the city for not having a proper training facility. So, this is a black eye on their part. Fire escapes, it takes 25 years to grow a quarter inch of rust, takes 50 years to grow half an inch of rust. You get 1 inch of rust, you've got many, many years of neglect. And 4 fire escapes on the same building, all of them will rot differently on 4 sides of the building. Weather, sun, rays, all of those will work differently. Some will lead up to paint sooner, the wind. Here's another one, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard. I had a client in Texas that asked me that we just finished repairing a 10-story, I think it was Houston, that we repaired a 10-story. He wanted me to break out the paint cost because he was able to recoup his paint cost because they had a hurricane that went through there that had over 150-mile-an-hour winds, and so that wind basically sandblasted his fire escape paint, and so he was able to recoup that. I said, no, you can't do that. He said, and he did. So, if you ever get a place that has a hurricane that goes through, flood waters or whatever, you basically have that. While I'm on that subject, in case you have a fire escape that gets hit by a truck, cement truck or a moving truck, we call that a fire escape lottery ticket. And here's why, because if they only bend a small piece of the fire escape, they only bend a little piece of the ladder and everything else is good, is the fire escape in service or out of service? Must be examined, tested, and certified? Just what got hit, everything. Everything. So now I walked the whole thing, and this guy has ignored this fire escape forever. And so not only the cantilever was bent, which is $10,000 problem, but he's got a $30,000 problem on the rest of the fire escape, as an example. You know what he just won? A fire escape lottery ticket, as long as he's got a name and a truck, right? Because now that guy's paying 100% of the repair of the whole job to bring it back into service. That's what we call it a fire escape lottery ticket. If it, all of a sudden it's a hit and run, we have to have him, he has to call the police, declare hit and run, call his insurance. Now they're gonna fix the whole fire escape on that dime, but he has to pay the disclaimer, the deductible, okay? Call a fire escape lottery ticket. So this is what happens when trucks and things hit the fire escape.
They hire him on as a maintenance guy.
Got it? Okay, as we walk up and down fire escapes, ping pong. This is the city hall, guys. See anything missing? Okay.
Guys are brutal with hammers.
Oh yeah, it's the hammer. That was actually a question that came up. Somebody says, you caused that. I said, okay.
Caused it.
I give them the same 3-pound hammer. I put a tread back where it belongs. Put in three. All held by just 3/8. I just put in 3/8 and I just hand tighten the 3/8 and I say, take this hammer, shear those for me. You'll break your wrist before you'll shear those. You'll destroy the tread before you can shear a 3/8 bolts, 2 of them. So the extra pound, I had a guy in New York City doing an inspection for NYU, and he claimed that, but he was lying, that he had brought a 20-pound sledge, and he tested every single tread, I went there with my 3, and I went ping, my 3-pound, and I was pinging, and these treads were all falling on an NYU building. I says, there's no way. He goes, he can bring his 20-pound sledge, but that's just banana. That's just a load of crap, because what is making these things fall is not me shearing with my 10-pound versus this 20-pound. The rust is eating the shaft. There's nothing there. All right, we were at a school, and we took a fire escape off the school that was from elementary, from kindergarten to 8th grade. Now, what we did is, very rare do I get to save anything, but I was able to save this. This is from the 2nd floor to a yard. The kids use this every day. We only were given a window from December 17th to January 3 to basically replace this fire escape. And nobody told me to replace this fire escape because of a violation. No fire official over 25 years ever told them to change that fire escape. No building official in his yearly exam told them to fix that fire escape. This is the maintenance guy that finally convinced the principal of the school that they leased this from a Catholic school. Convinced them to, you gotta get this out of here because the kids going up and down to the teachers every day, this 4-foot wide fire escape. I was able to keep a piece of the fire escape, both at the top and at the bottom. And I use it as my, rusty show. I show you guys what rust goes, but this is what it looked like. And so what we did is we welded onto it. We did everything wrong to it to show you how everybody does wrong things to fire escape. And so this is just some of the things that you can do. So typically, when a fire escape is bad, they'll weld a clip onto it. weld here, and then weld every one of these bars to hold it in position. That's one of the things they do wrong. Second thing is, you got this much rust, you know, you weld the nose. So don't fix the hole, just weld the nose. But even though the rust is in there, just weld the nose. Get in here, sometimes you take a 1/2-inch square bar, you put it underneath here, and you support it, you weld it here, here, and there, and you just weld. So it's all, oh, by the way, did I pull a fire from it? This 100-year-old wood structure with leaves still in the yard? No? Okay, yeah, we don't need to do that. You see it rotted into the ground? This is all stuck in the asphalt. And this actually was in the asphalt as one of the treads, because they just kept asphalting all the way up to it. Got it? So this is what the piece looked. I took a 4-foot piece and I kind of shrunk it. So I could maybe, you know, carry it around and take it to different shows. Right? Oh, by the way, any lead on this? No, the kids took it all away because they all got a piece of lead, you know, on the way to the yard. But, you know, when little kids, a lot of people think kids eat a lot of lead. They really don't eat a lot of lead. A lot of times when you take a renovators class, they'll show you that the lead is really around the dad's chair. You know, when they come home and he sits in his dirty clothes, that's really where a lot of kids get their lead. But when the kids put their hands on something that has lead, and then they go into the lunchroom and they eat their apple and stuff, what's that do? That's where it's coming from, guys. So here's the existing fire escape every day. And we have to wait till the 7/17 to basically have that little vacation week that they had. So this is what it looked like. So I kept this upper part, and I kept this lower part, and I made the 2 showpieces from it. But this is what it looked like. Now it goes to the right, and then came down the side with a brand new fire escape. But the maintenance guy made me change that. So I was able to save, it took me longer to save it so that it wouldn't crumble on itself, so I can keep the 1/2-inch rust and all that major rust in it. Okay? So, you guys see rust from underneath, it's all hidden, you can't see it. And will you ever go up a fire escape anymore? Or can you see it from the ground? Open a window, open a door, look out, you see it's rust. And it rust from the inside out or the outside in.
That's it.
You gonna carry a 3-pound hammer around? You're not supposed to. So will you ever get on a fire escape? Can you just open the door and look out? If it's all rusty, what's it mean? It's properly maintained? Properly maintained and out?
Holes.
So, and then from the ground, when you look up at a fire escape, you see bulges in any of the connections, rust on the fire escape, what's that telling you? Is it suspect? So 2 things in the law, must be structurally sound, must be kept painted. You walk up to any rusted fire escape, do you need any more to write a violation? They haven't been maintaining it, that's all you need, you can write your violation. And you write what words? 3 words only you write on every violation. Inspect it, say nice and loud. Inspect it, repair it, test it, because you're gonna get a call. Got it? This is Rutgers, New Jersey. Okay? This is a, the only thing that can make this better has to be on a fraternity. Okay, that's the only thing left on this to make it totally foolish, but this is the only fireman pole fire escape I've ever seen, still active. Anybody ever seen a slide escape? What city?
Actually, I think it was Chuck Rogan put in that Boston hospital. I grew up in Saugus, Massachusetts.
There you go, the Saugus man here. So, right now, you're gonna
It's a temporary thing while they were doing the work on the ground.
we're talking about currently in use today.
About
Elizabeth, New Jersey, 12-story, I'm gonna show it to you. Slide skate. So guys, you guys remember this, right? You see the little girl? That's the little girl. What's her problem? She gonna jump 10 feet? She gonna jump into anybody's arms? Right? When the firemen got there, were they fighting a fire or was it a rescue? So, and the old guy is sitting there going, hey, oh yeah, with people in the back, people in the front, people on the sides, people everywhere. Did he say we're fighting the fire? But the news reporter said at the end, hey, thank God, you know, 50 people, we let them all back in. Good day. That's what the little girl looks like.
But right now, firefighters are taking down the ladders and rolling up the hoses. But earlier in the night, when they pulled up, there were...
Got it? So now we understand where things are coming from. It's really the unknown. That's why you gotta use the word low test. Only because she's old. She's 50, 75, 100 years old. 25 to 50 years ago, it didn't matter because even if it was suspect, it was going nowhere. Grandma is 75 years old. She needs a pacemaker and she needs a new hip. You guys are loading bricks on her, and that's what guys sometimes do. These guys are fixing this fire escape, or fixing this wall because it had a bulge, you know, a bulge from ice jacking, right? Guess where they put the bricks? And that happened, you might remember in Boston, there was a bunch of Irish guys, they were on the 4th or 5th floor, and they were loading the bricks all on the thing, and they all to the ground.
It costs too much for the scaffolding to put the bricks on.
Put them on the roof, put all the bricks on the roof. Guys, look at all that rot. This is bulge, this is New York. Guys, this is what it looks like to basically verify connections. I have to drill a hole, and then I have to put one of those snakes in there. That's what the hole looks like. I sometimes have to drill 2, 3, 4 holes with that 3/4 in order to get enough view to see how deep it goes, see if it's rotting out or not. Why? When I can just take that same one, right, and what can I see when I look inside? That's 2 to 3 holes. What's stopping me from just drilling 6 inches away here, new epoxy bolt or new through bolt with a plate on the back, mechanically fasten it back to this with an angle clip? What do I got? A new connection, and I'm at 200%. Do I care what's behind here? I still gotta clean it, I still gotta caulk it, I still gotta close it, but what's my master? What's my slave? You still wanna load test me? Right? So that's how you verify interior connections. You either verify it because you can get a look and see, or you make me do what? Duplicate the connection. Now sometimes what occurs here, guys, when you got a lot of connections, you know what you can run underneath a 12-foot or a 15-foot balcony? One piece of angle. You run it every 2 to 3 feet, you put an epoxy bolt in it. That angle tucks up underneath every bracket coming out. Then you mechanically fasten on that one piece. That's called unification. So that in order for that balcony not to fall out, what needs to come down? The entire wall. Got it? So there's individual or unification. If I can't do any of these, how about a support on the nose to the ground? What's that do? Turns it into a bridge. This is what you see when you look inside, guys. You know what you see? Nothing. You know what you interpret? That's me looking over there. What can you, when you drill these holes, what are you really seeing? It's a crapshoot, you really don't know. So, duplicate the connection, it's cheaper. Every now and then you can get inside, you can see it, it's an easy do. Got it? Sometimes it's not. Live load testing. Live load testing can be done in several ways. Sandbags, 50 pounds a piece, bring them all up there. You can do water bags, 50 pounds a piece, bring them up there. Plates, 50 pounds a piece, bring them up there. Cables, you can put the weight at the ground, throw a cable through the thing, and lift whatever's on the ground, lift it up an inch. Any danger to all of these activities? You're supposed to have all these safeguards. Cherry picker, your bag, and somehow you're able to contort yourself in such a way that you can put all your bags. And always have all the access in the world, because if not, you bring in your helicopter fleet and these things just get dropped down to you, so that, you know, because you're suspended by a helicopter, you dangerous. The straw that broke the camel's back, right? So we, you know, this is California. We needed to raise 3,000 pounds. You put a truck underneath it. We were doing the very top 10th floor, so we put the truck underneath. We had the safeguards. We had cables that ran from here to here in case of, and 1,000 pounds, right? Every 1,000 pounds, you put 40% for the first 20 minutes to half hour. You measure before, during, and after. Then you put the remaining 600 pounds per 1,000, the remaining 60% of the load, you measure before, during, and after. How much time does this waste? You need stopwatches, and you need. It gets insane, right? Got it? How many men, how many people? And they'll do it for free, because, you know, just connecting rigs in California, right? Then you start lifting the weight, so, and then we had a load cell to a digital cell that basically told us, you know, you've lifted, you know, 3,000 pounds of the tail of this truck, which weighs 7,000 pounds. Got it? Now, here's another one. We purposely, this was a fire escape for Harvard University. We purposely left on this residential building, we purposely left some old bolts in this so we can purposely load test it. But not because we're going to charge Harvard. I said, I need to record one of these silly things. Can you please let me record one in an inaccessible place? meaning I had to basically drag this on. It had roofs and it had everything that we needed, and I wanted to show you guys load testing, and then what happens when you load test every other tread, and what's 200 or 300 pounds look like in sandbags, because if they fall, it's the domino effect, and it's, and then 7 guys from 7 in the morning till 7 at night, getting it, bringing it. So now we're loading onto a stair, and we're doing a concentrated load of every other tread, 200 pounds. Because it wants to fall. It's insane. Hey Tom, he's about started. You want to note that the staircase is starting, what time? You start at the top, so you go all the way at the top, and then you start cascading all your weights down. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm just sitting there telling them to do it. Hey, all right, guys, record them. I recorded almost 4 hours of video, and I made a little 4-minute video for you guys. So if you ever want to watch it online, you can actually watch a load test. In case somebody comes in, nobody load tests out there. What do you say? Oh yeah, there's idiots out there that won't load test it. They'll take your money. But are you really ordering load tests? Is that what you really want? Or are you trying to force them into that other category? What category do you want from all your fire escapes in the city? You want them repaired, refurbished to basically a new line in the sand on 75-year-old grandma, right? But what happens is you're going to get somebody that's going to fight you tooth and nail. What do you pull out of your pocket, guys? They're going to come in with an opinion letter that they've been giving you for 25 years. What do you pull out of your pocket? What do you pull out? You still accept opinion letters? Sure do. With what? With a load test, right? Well, what else can they do besides load tests? Other evidence of strength, right? Which is what? Replace all the bolts, get you a certification, get you a confidence test that gives me all the assurance. By the way, 3 years later, one of those brand new bolts sheared and there's 3 people dead on the ground. Who gets sued? Everybody, but who pays the bill? See? You guys hear that? The bolt, because that was a product failure. Who pays that bill? Because you did the only 3 things. You had it evaluated, you didn't test it, but what did you do? You certified it. Is that an assurance? Yes. But it still fell to the ground? Yeah. One bolt came from, we'll sit down. And this happened on epoxy bolts, this happens on many things that, you know, you can still put a brand new bolt, but guess what we got? We got crap, the bolt was crap.
You don't require grading.
No, that's another thing too, that a lot of people think, oh, let's get titanium, wrapped in gold, covered by some special plastic. The bolt, what destroys a bolt is the expansion. Ice jacking and rust jacking, primarily rust jacking. As soon as you take any shaft, so I can take a tread, put it back in, stick a dowel in there made of wood, and you can walk on it. So it's not, but as soon as you let that shaft open, you take any bolt that was this tight, and you pull it apart, 1/16, 1/8, and you let that process continue. There's no bolt in the world can handle that rust jacking. You guys understand? So you can have a grade 5, you can have stainless steel, golden, titanium. You know,
It's the process, the rust.
the rust jacking,
Destroys the bolt.
right? The rust jacking pulls and destroys, compromises the bolt and stretches, but then as rust gets in there, it'll start eating. So it's a combination of the 2 things. So this is the fireman, okay? This is the very, I'm going to sort of get this towards the end. He's going to tell me when I can end it, and we can open it up to questions. The fireman fell through 3 treads here, fell down, went back up, took a woman out, a child out of there. By the time he came back out, he was crippled. The case here was that we were brought in 2-3 years later. We were brought in. The case here was that he was saying that this was not an accident, work-related injury, because that's what they were giving him. You know, he was on work-related compensation now for the rest of his life. He sued the owner for negligence. So with the metallurgist, we were able to prove that the guy who owned the building hadn't touched this thing for 25+ years, and that he caused a work-related accident. So he was claiming negligence on the part of the ownership. We were able to prove it because when we got there, what happened was, we got there the day of the, 2-3 years later when they brought me in, and I worked with a metallurgist. As I was going up the fire escape, tried to phone. This is the condition we found the fire escape. And by the time we got there, yes, the 3 treads that he fell through were rebolted. They weren't faulted. But the rest of the fire escape, not one of the bolts touched. So they quickly settled this case. But this is some of the information that the metallurgist and I put together to basically show you. Now, I have to prove so you understand why fire escapes rust from the inside out. Every piece of fire escape is not pre-manufactured. Every piece of fire escape in the United States starts with it as a 20-foot piece of something. The old local ironwork shop then chopped it up into 36s and 60s and whatever, and they took raw bare metal. You guys ever sweat a copper pipe? You put a torch to it, what does it look like it's doing? Like it's drying out, right? You do the same thing with a piece of metal. You put a torch to it, it looks like it's drying out. So it's already got moisture. What does rust need besides moisture? Oxygen. You give rust. So that's why sometimes steel that in its raw form, you leave it out long enough, it's got its own moisture just through the natural air, but then all of a sudden you give it oxygen, what happens to the steel that's even under some cover after a period of time? It'll get surface rust, right? So how do you stop that from occurring? You coat it with paint. So that's what they did with fire escape. So you take a 20-foot piece of length to make treads. I'm going to start on a tread. So you take naked bars of tread with angles and you put them together. You drill a hole. You're either going to rivet it, bolt it, or weld it. It doesn't matter because when you do this, do you prime the two before you put them together?
Well, you know,
Nobody does. And even if you did it, as soon as you weld it, what would happen? You would burn, right? So nobody. So all these components, rails, treads, brackets, supports, flat, platform, they all have certain parts of it that are what? Naked to naked. And what they do is, in the 1900s, 1925, 1950, when you can finish making one of these pieces, you painted it quickly to do what? To stop what from getting back in there? All right, so now as you sit there with the fire escape and you get heat in the summer, you get cold in the winter, what happens with these two pieces as they expand and contract and do what? As soon as they move, what happens to that seal of paint that was in that crack? It rips. What's it now introducing into the steel?
moisture and air.
It already has moisture. But when the rain comes in, it gives it more moisture in case it doesn't have enough to drink that day, but it introduces nothing but air. So as soon as you get air and rust into any fire escape, it starts rusting. What about the rest of the flat that has plenty of paint on it? Anything happening there? So all of a sudden, the rust is starting there, and it eats in that connection and starts growing. And then as it grows, it then starts lifting paint nearby. So by the time I get to lift all the rest of the paint left on the fire escape, how many years have I let that connection grow? 10, 15, 25. By the time you see a fire escape with no paint on it, where did it start? In the connection. Got it? So that's why you can walk up to any fire escape not properly maintained, surface rust everywhere. What do you tell the owner? That needs a paint job, which is what everybody used to write, scrape and paint.
It needs to be inspected, repaired,
And tested. Why? Because all your connections are suspect. He goes, what are you talking about? This needs a paint job. He goes, no, you've let it go too far. Every connection is suspect here. Got it? Why? Because here's what happens. When in the first 5 to 10 years, you're going to get that surface rust, crack the paint, it's trying to get in there. What you're supposed to do is wide brush that off and give it another sealing coat. You're supposed to maintain it. Chicago wants you to paint this every 3 years. Do you? In 1925, when this went up, did anybody? So they went forward and they painted over the rust. When you paint over the rust, what happens? Now, it's still got rust in that connection where the pigeon poo and the leaves and everything hangs. And what happens right there? How much of it is in there? 1/16. That's it. It's not bad. Is the shaft still good? You bet it is. But it's got stretch only 1/16. Is it suspect? But it'll last. It'll last. I'm telling you, it'll last. It'll last another 25, 50, or 75 years. Why? Because people did this as an experiment. Yes?
Weren't some of the old stairways and stuff made out of cast iron?
Oh, cast iron, another one. I'll quickly answer the cast iron right now so you guys understand. Cast iron is one of the worst things you can have on your fire escape because here's what happens. Cast iron is unforgiving. As soon as you expand it in any way, it has all these hairline cracks and fractures that you can't even see. It's very brittle, and as soon as you tap it, it'll just go. Now, when you put it back together with some people, sometimes so we'll never put back cast on any fire escape. If we find cast treads, unless we're reinforcing it and people want the look, you tap it, and that happened to me in a West Virginia bank, 7 stories. I tapped it and all the treads started falling. They almost fell into the parking lot. It was a mess. But cast, because when it compresses, when it compresses in, right, from the two treads on the two sides, and starts compressing this cast, the cast sort of wants to bow a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And all it does is think, because it's unforgiving, it won't bend, cast won't bend, so it's, as any compression happens, and then some people just take it and they weld it. They won't weld it with a cast rod,
Yeah.
they'll weld it with a regular rod. I took that have a master's degree in reverse stability, right? I don't know all the, you know, I made up the definition. I have a master's degree in, you guys all have the same thing, just, you know, this is not just mine. You all have a master's degree in reverse stability, which means you know all the wrong ways to do it right. To finally get it right. Right? Because that's what we do, we bang our heads, but only down the road. Edison, right? Did he invent the light bulb, or did he invent 1,000 ways that a light bulb doesn't work? Right? So that's what everybody here has a master's degree in reverse stupidity in your specific field. Because I'll tell you, everybody tests you on all the wrong ways to do electrical, all the wrong ways to do plumbing, all the ways to put up a house, and you've seen it all. So take that knowledge and wear like with a proudly as a badge, because that's what makes you. That's why people want you up front there, because it's not that you're the smartest, but you've seen all the dumbest. You know what I'm saying? You have a bank of all the dumbest things you've ever seen in the world, and you're just trying to eliminate those. So what happens is on the next step, guys, is the rust end becomes too big. And some of these older fire escapes with the rivets, the shaft is so small that all of a sudden, as the clip gets further away from the shaft, which is the only thing blocking it in the past, as soon as you get beyond the shaft, now she wants to drop. And that's what happened to that fireman. You know, the rivets finally let go and he fell through. This is the rust that we found when we got there. We were walking up and I said, you know, and this was, fire escape was loaded with lawyers and firemen, and said, I don't know what you guys are doing up here. If this thing goes down, we're all going down together. And I said, you know.
Just sent the lawyers up there first.
There was lawyers, everybody was photographing. There was a lawyer made me say, stop right there, take a photograph. And they love. It's such a show. Guys, here's how all fire escapes in the United States are built, every single one. They have never changed. They built it right the first time, they haven't ever changed it since. Every fire escape is only embedded 8 to 12 inches deep. So it goes through the veneer, which takes up how many inches, guys?
4.
Right? And then the rest of it, 8 to 12 inches deep total, means how long is it buried in here? 4 to 8 inches tops. Okay? Every single fire escape. So here's what happens. Water gets in there. Rust jacking, ice jacking, pops the bricks in the direction that it can go the best. So that's why in all your sills you see this crack. As soon as this steel makes this crack, cracks this sill, what does it get for the rest of its life? Water. Water, because the water comes in here, and feeds it, and it'll spew out the stains for you to see. Can you see those? We can see them, but you can't. Why? You're not looking for them. Got it? So this is how rust works. It feeds itself. And some guys will get in and they'll fix the sills, but not fix the fire escape, and what happens a year later? Dink. More water. Got it? So this fire escape stair with all these treads, right? Dangling, right? There's a bracket here. Where's the bracket here? Holding up 2 staircases. It's only buried 8 to 12 inches deep. Got it? A lot of times you got a gusset or a single bolt and it goes back to the building. Water feeds into this and destroys the bottom. So this is water being constantly fed back into the building. Multiple floors, that's how the water gets in. Inside, when you have through bolts and the plate on the back is so small, what's it do? It crushes it, pulls it inside. So the plate's got to be big. You got so much water happening every now and then, you got moss and all kinds of stuff growing, thereby feeding the rust jacking and the ice jacking. You got all kinds of rust happening from down below. This is 1 inch of rust on a library, a public school library. 1 inch. How long? And if you can see down below all the other, in case you want to grow exotic ferns, where do you grow them now?
Under the fire escape.
Because fire escapes will have plenty of what? Water, moisture, dirt, debris. So if you are about, revitalization of fire escapes, this is because it has that water channel coming out. This is that thing about the leg. If the building's a leg is a leg, what do you got? The bridge. Barbed wire is for what purpose? Keep the pigeons off, I guess, I don't know, but, whenever you get a smash from a truck, a lot of people think this is the damage. Where's the real damage? Inside, right? This is the veneer. Let's just pop the veneer. Where's the real damage? The second course, third and fourth course of bricks inside that. All wood structures have a through bolt. Okay? Got it? If you walk up to a structure and you have a lag screw, you have 3 or 4 of them here, what's it telling you? It's improperly installed because it'll wick water to a lag screw and do what to it? Make it soft, meaning when you step on it, what happens to it? So all wood structures must have a through bolt. So how do you know it's properly installed? When you look up, you see a nut and a rod coming out the other way. You see a head of anything going in, or expansion bolts only. Was it properly installed? Needs an epoxy bolt or it needs a through bolt? And with today's epoxy situations, 1 epoxy bolt or 2? 2. 2, right?
Structure will tell us 2 per.
By the way, and you guys have a hole inspector here for all epoxies? In Seattle, you can drill the hole, call for a hole inspector to come down and check the hole. And he has to sit there and watch you mix it and install it.
Yeah.
Got it? All over the.
They don't blow us down.
Right, well, that's what they want to do. They want to make sure you properly blow it out, clean it out, and then they want to see you mix it down to the right temperature and the right condition. But in certain, because of these collapses and such, there's a hole inspector for epoxy bolts. Cantilevers, guys. How many people understand the proper way the cantilever works? This is a release arm. A release arm is nothing but a bar that blocks my passage. It goes down, and then there's a little bit of a, it's like either a Z or it's a C, right? And when I go through it, it's single action requiring no special knowledge. When I bang into this bar, what's it do? It rotates away from me. As it rotates this, down below it rotates right there and gets it away. This cantilever that weighs 25 pounds on the nose only is perfectly balanced like a seesaw. By the time I walk down and hit the pivot, what has this done? It has hit the ground and stayed down. It drops 2 to 3 feet per second. Now, how many of you are aware of, in your city, a chain on a cantilever? That's because it's balanced backwards. Now, with or without a release arm, I have to walk out where? 2, 4, 6, 8 treads. Let me tell you how these things work. It's very simple. 150-pound woman carrying a 50-pound child. I'm not carrying, dragging a 50-pound child during a fire. She comes down the fire escape. She hits that release arm. She hits the release arm, continues dragging her child down the stairs. By the time she hits this pivot point, she goes all the way down. It's already on the ground. Her and the child walk away. Now what happens when there's a chain and a weight, somebody threw extra weights on it so it's always up in the air. Because they're sick and tired of putting it back up there all the time. 150-pound woman comes here, she gets it, there's no release arm, she comes down here, she sees this horizontal plank, like a pirate. So she walks out 2 or 3 steps, what happens? Doesn't go down. It's weighted backwards. So even though she goes out 3, what's it do? And by the way, there's other people behind her saying what to her? So she goes out 3, nothing. She goes out 6, what happens? Starts tilting. So what does she do? She leans back into her daughter, and the daughter screams, and she screams, but the people coming behind her say what to her?
Keep going.
Go, go, go. So all of a sudden she steps out 1 or 2 more. Does it come down and hit the ground at 2 to 5 feet per second, or 5 to 10 feet per second? 5 to 10 feet, it slams the ground. What happens to her? No, this is a better story than that guy. She lives, she survives, she holds on, she pulls back, and it slams the ground, scares the hell out of her. Her dog starts crying, and all of a sudden she goes down to the very bottom, now because it's on the ground, she has enough weight on it. She goes down to the bottom of it, and she takes her 150 pounds off, and so her dog is still on the stair. What happens to her daughter? Goes back up. How many feet for every cantilever? 12 to 14 feet in the air. Why? So cement trucks and other trucks don't hit it. So now she's down at the ground looking up at her daughter and saying to her daughter to do what? The daughter says what?
You're crazy.
You're crazy. So she goes, so the mom in her PJs runs down the alleyway to the front of the building to do what? Go back into the burning building. The building's locked. She doesn't have what? Her key. She grabs a brick out of the ground. She's about to smash the front door open and do what? Get back in. Who gets to her? The fireman says, "What are you doing, crazy lady, out here with a brick in your hand?" She goes, "My daughter in the alleyway." So they both run down there. Now the fireman runs down there and says to the daughter. The daughter says, "What? I won't jump for my mother. I ain't gonna jump for you." Right? He runs back to his truck. He gets what? Takes too long. He gets his pipe pole. He goes back down there with his pipe pole, snags it, pulls it down, steps on it, reunites the daughter with the mother. It's a beautiful story, right?
What happened to the people behind them?
They went too long. So all of a sudden now he's sitting there holding this thing down, and what's happening?
I'm not going that way.
He's got to sit there and hold that down because as the rest of the firemen start showing up and start fighting this fire, if he lets go of that fire, of that staircase, what happens? So you just lost a fireman. That's not how cantilevers work. Got it? So, and if they don't have a release arm, they kind of tilt and they kind of do this, and that's how trucks smash them, because when you're backing up a truck, you're looking up. Got it? So that's why you need release arms to basically lock them in a horizontal position. Otherwise, if a pigeon lands on the nose, what happens to it? So because pigeons and ice landed on the nose, what did people start buying? Chains, extra weight. Here's a release arm wide open. What happens here? So they put extra weight in here, put a chain on it, tied to what? Something structural? They tie it anywhere they can, right? So people smash into these things all the time. They're improperly repaired. Trucks, they're all damaged. You can't imagine the stuff that happens to these poor things because they do these things. They're up and down. They're not locked in a horizontal position. Got it? Stringers, they have the gussets that hold them in place. You know, the J's that hold them in place. A lot of them are. So you don't care about the tread falling. Now you care about the whole staircase falling. This is on a 22-story building. I took this photo from the ground in a hotel in Chicago. This is 7 stories up. The staircase. The only thing holding that thing is the railing. Got it? It's all over the country, guys. It's just not here. It's all over. And why? Because it's been 50 years since anybody cared. I mean, anybody here wrote a violation in the past month on fire escape? 6 months. 1 year. 2 years. 5 years. Yeah. See how long? Bastard child of egress. And you need to make it a checkbox item. So what's a checkbox item on this? What's a checkbox item on this? Building permits start. Smoke detector sign-offs. Alarm sign-offs. You know, any form, how the health inspector, the safety checkbox, meaning he has 2 means of egress. So there's quite a few. We're almost at the end here, guys, on this piece here. And I'm going to show you the slidescape. You're going to love the slidescape. That's always... We're going to talk about ladders. You guys know that the ladders are weighted and drop 2 to 3 feet per second to the ground, just like a cantilevered stair. A lot of these gratings have these spacers. These spacers are all rotting out. Okay, when you're near the ocean, what happens? It gets worse, right? Salt really accelerates a lot of things in the ocean. Ladders. Guys, you have a lot of ladders. This is what they have in California. Slide ladders. Accordion ladders. You guys can't have them here because they freeze up. Ladders that are incomplete to the ground. This is what a balanced ladder looks like when you release it. Here's what a gooseneck over the roof looks like. Those things will drop firemen all day long. Here's modified ladders that don't work. If you take a ladder that used to be a fixed ladder and you cut it here, you modify it, and you make it so that it flops out and it cocks somebody in the head, can you have it?
Good, Hazel.
It's illegal. So if you see any chopped ladders that don't just, they're not in the slide mode, they just flop out, it's illegal. Yeah, that's what it looks like. We're actually doing one right now at a Ramada right now, and we just put in a fold-out ladder. It looks like a drain pipe when it's closed, and then when you open it up, it's an 18-inch ladder, because it flops down, the bars are up like this, but they come down. But in the meantime, I had my guys at the Ramada on 2 ladders that were, I said, I want a video of you guys, because there's usually a chain on the nose, and you're supposed to let it out from, as an occupant, you're supposed to let out this chain and let it slowly. But then once it hits the horizontal, there's no way to, to capture it, because you're at the wrong angle, and the thing just flops down. But once they record that for me, I told them also, no, give me a cardboard box. And I want you to purposely let the ladder go, and I want it to crush the box and let it just hit the ground, because I want it to bend the ladder, because a lot of times these get bent and they bow because of the smash. When they smash, they bow out, and I want to show people, I want to get it recorded, so they're recording that for me today. Got it? So now, if I walk by a fire escape, I would write a violation on this. So I either have a $3,000 problem, or I go to Home Depot for 30 bucks, buy a chain it here, tie it up there, and what are you gonna do? Did you take care of that cantilever? Yeah. Go by and take a look. Oh yeah, it looks good. So if you see a chain, is it legal or illegal? Illegal. I'm gonna show you what it looks like when you release a cantilever. Now, this is in Chicago, they all get the weight on one side, but it's a very violent, see, weight's on one side. But you're gonna watch, this is actually when we got a case, a piece of steel fell here that was welded, caught the guy in the head. So now this is the last piece, I'm gonna be telling you before we hit that slide skip, I wanna show you. Any welded connection must be x-rayed, must be load tested. Every weld on every fire escape must be x-rayed, must be load tested. But as soon as you drill a hole in that weld, and you put a bolt in, what happens to the x-ray or the load test requirement? So what's cheaper, x-ray or load test? See the violence? And the torquing? That's what snapped the piece of steel that was on here. That's a stiffener. Cost us $1 million. We didn't pay it. The insurance and 7 litigants, including Chicago, $1 million.
Maybe it was meant to twist.
Say what?
Maybe it was meant to twist.
No, it was the problem was that for many years the rust of the weld was rusting from the inside out. You'd never see it without an x-ray or a load test. So now every weld, good or bad, good gets a bolt, bad ones get rebolted anyway. But look at this, a 14-foot truck. This is why. Now imagine it didn't have a release arm on there. That thing was dangling there so slightly because of wind, pigeons, or ice. These trucks tear these things down all the time. See the chain there on that one? Got it? This just happened by accident. We were there filming this guy starts backing up into the thing. So all fire escapes complete to the ground. Can we do spirals? Yes, if you've exhausted all other means. Can you do a ladder? If you've exhausted all other means, can you do it by right? Nope. So if you have all the room in the world in the back of your yard, you're putting in a full code compliant stair to the ground. You're stuck between 2 buildings and some crazy hen house of some sort. Guess what you have? Many options, including a ladder, a spiral. You can get creative with it, but you're going to meet the code as best you can. But if you have all the room in the world, you're not getting away with nothing. No spirals, no ladders. Got it? You know, coming out of a window, you're going to have to come out a door. So these are all the classes that we taught. We taught down in Washington, D.C. I'm just going to get you guys, and we'll close the class right there on the slidescape in Elizabeth, New Jersey. OSHA, is this helpful? Guys, get OSHA, use this 1910.37. So start at the back of your permit or the front of the permit, all depends on how much you want to deal with the wind that's going to come, but it'll be a 3 to 5 year program to, okay? Plenty of tests out there. Everybody's got a checklist test out there. Steal one, borrow one, we'll give you one. They're out there. This is the Tacoma one, got it? Confidence test, get away from disclaimers. To the best of my information, knowledge, and belief, they're at the bottom of every document you've ever received from an engineer. You should bring all those to the bathroom, because they're just as good as toilet, they should be used as toilet paper. Okay, look, all these are downloadable everywhere. They're all over the internet now. A lot of these we built, they didn't exist. We created all these, we gave them away for free to all the cities that wanted them. You can just use them, because they all say the same thing. Oh, tax letter. One of our model cities put it in their tax letters, like, well, every 3 months, and said, what? Hey, tax person, if you have a fire escape, read this letter. If you don't have one, just throw this letter away. But it says, hey, we are now looking at fire escapes, and please be aware that we're very conscious about 2 means of egress. So you can have certain mailings include the fact that you're putting it out that all the people who pay taxes in your city, whether they have a fire escape or not, that fire escapes need to be looked at. Again, Oregon, I think they got one of the best programs. Reg 4 in LA, they got a great program. It all depends on how complicated you want to get. They already exist. Tags, a must. You start tagging everything, things are going to change. Mandatory, but you're gonna, before the state will allow this to happen, you're gonna have to go with the grassroots level. Get a local ordinance to, to say, I want tags, confidence tests, and fees for fire escapes. Okay? This is all the codes. You guys went through all the codes. Now, all exterior steel wooden stairs, right? This is gonna start, and this will end on the slidescape. You guys will love it. So are these all need examination now? Parking garages, guys. You know how many parking garages have semi-interior, exterior fire escapes in there with cement pads? People have fallen. I believe there's many accidents nationwide that have occurred where people have fallen through. How about the back porches on residentials? They're all exterior, steel wooden stairs. Okay? Between the fire department and you guys can touch everything now. All decks, all stairs. Sometimes you got a stair coming out of the back that's a 60-pound stair that should be a 100-pound egress. So you got that problem that occurs. That sometimes the second means of egress is not 100 pounds per square foot. Catwalks, billboards, silos, utility equipment, the gas industry. They have all kinds of egress systems everywhere, guys, right? Bridges, private bridges at hotels, at hospitals. These are private bridges that must be examined. Ladders that don't go all the way to the ground. The law says they're supposed to be completed to the ground. You can have it end 8 feet, but then you must continue it with a balanced ladder or a balanced staircase to the ground. That's what the code read. All spirals, everything that's exterior must be examined on as per code. And here we go, guys. 12-story slidescape built in 1905, Elizabeth, New Jersey. Still in use today. Has one interior staircase, has one interior elevator, and a slidescape that starts right here. And it goes for 12 stories. And then right here at this building, which is parked, there's a 90-degree turn for a slingshot shot for about 30 feet. And you come down to the end with your feet hopefully in front of you, and you're supposed to hit this door made of iron with a huge paddle that your big bozo clown feet are supposed to hit. You slap this this paddle, and the door opens, and you tumble out, and you run away to safety. So
Sounds like a bobsled run.
this is the guy up on the roof, right? And this is the fire. This is the fire prevention guy, and we're opening this up. And this is the maintenance guy. That's what it looks like going looking in, right? So now, 2 little doors on every floor that open up into this thing. You don't get no potato sack. You're supposed to wait as people tumble by, and you're supposed to like join in or jump on, or it's a one-way system. You can go head first, feet first, and I'll tell you, it starts warming up by the time you get down. You're gonna cause enough friction going 12 stories. Galvanized. This is a galvanized pinwheel. No lights, so it's a little bit of a carny ride, so you kind of, and in case, anybody does tumble and block it up, guess what you get? A sausage, because you're stacking with people, add heat and fire, what do you get? A human sausage, but it's already in the tube, and you can, so that's what it looks like coming all the way down. Got it? Now, these things have all gone, they used to be in the code book. Some of you remember slidescapes in the code book? Remember? Probably since, even as of, yeah, slidescapes. There's rules on how to build them and everything, slidescape. So these finally got taken out because they eliminated, but there's still some buildings out there in Elizabeth, New Jersey. That building was built in 1905. Art Deco building. And it's and that's an approved means of egress for them today still.
They charge for the ride?
I'll lend it,
You gotta order quarter
I'll
of
lend
the
it on,
slide
I'll
to
lend
get
it
to
on
the
this
top.
slide, but you know what they did? Kids used to break in there, and I'll lend it on this slide. The kids used to break into that building, and back in the day when they used to heat it with coal, what the guy used to do every year, the local parochial school, one of the things, as a passage of right, you have to sneak in this building and then break into the slide and do it. So every year, one of the firemen said his father or his grandfather worked the building. He goes, he would get coal dust. And right around the time that everybody had to do this passage of right, he would put coal dust and all inside the thing, and he would just wait. And it's like clockwork every year. These kids in their uniforms and the white shirt would come out of there all black with soot. And he goes, hey, yeah, you got it, but dude, explain to mom. Explain to mom what you just got through. So on this, and I'm gonna end it here. You guys know that they sell these bag ladders. I do have two more things on here. I was gonna show you, there's a unit that you can put on a truck, so that if you want to evacuate up to 50 stories, there's actually units out there that you can bring to a fire, and you can actually evacuate people out of the side of the window using this compressed system with a bag that you get in, that I have here, but it's getting, we're sort of at the end, and that's around the $2,000 to $4,000 range for those systems. And then they have the $2 to $4 million systems, which is basically on top of a roof, but you can go online and it's called high-rise escapes, and you can just sort of look at those. But if you check any of the videos that I've sent to you to send off to your membership, some of the other classes that I've done, 4 or 5, we do actually play the videos the whole length, and you guys can take a look at those. And again, this is a 2-hour class that we'll put online. We'll send it back to you, so you can send it off to your people. You can send it for your training. In some cases, there's a little download button on there. You can click and actually record the actual piece onto your hard drive, so you can show it at some of your classes, because sometimes some of you guys are not allowed on YouTube for some reason. I don't know, at different cities. So you can either stick it on a stick or put it on a CD. But all these classes are available. So I don't know if you have anything else you want to say, or if anybody has any additional requests, but if I can get your card, I'll keep you posted on anything that's new and innovative. If I have your card, I'll actually make for you, if you wish, for us to make, for you to present to your legal department a copy of the sample documentation. We're looking for 5 cities in Pennsylvania to basically say, hey, we want to be a guinea pig for the next 3 to 5 years. So that means we take about 5 fire escapes. We look at the past, we look at the present, we look at the future, because you may bring me to a fire escape that's already been certified, a fire escape that's already been okayed, a fire escape that's already been painted. And I just walk with you, and we use our training to say, is there anything suspect here? So even a fire escape that was certified last week, and you walk there today, and you use today's knowledge on it, and you see original hardware, you see rust in the connection, can you order a new load test that minute? Got it? So we're looking for 5 cities, and basically to be guinea pigs, so that over the next 3 to 5 years, we can present to the state a testing and some back and forth kicking around. Otherwise, as you go on the internet or you go to our website and steal the information that's there for free, which sometimes is not called stealing, it's borrowing and copying and pasting. We can either handhold you through this, or we can answer questions for you. But does anybody have any questions that about the bastard child egress? Did I cover it all as much as I could? Did I scare most of you? Did I keep you awake? It's very hard to keep you guys awake, and by this time, right after lunch, this is the worst show. It's right after lunch. Everybody's like, oh, I'm gonna take a nap. I think I kind of.
You gotta watch how low we turn the lights off.
Right?
Thank you.
And don't forget, if I can get all your cards, take your books.
Hey, don't you guys forget, the December meeting, let me know in the next month or so. We got a preference and training for the December meeting, the ICC meeting. But I have to know in the next month or
Yeah, we're gonna grab mics. Yeah.
Very good.
Gary, I guess until next time. Yep.
We'll get together.
Yep, all right.
Good luck,
Yeah,
Mike
yeah.
and all them, yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody needs a bag, we got more back here. Help yourself. There's some cookies. see you. Good seeing you. I guess you'll know in the next couple of weeks, huh? Yeah.
I'll talk to you, man.
All right, we'll see you. Take care, Bruce.
See you guys.
Well, yeah, I'll get you. I'll mail you or I'll offer
You get a brownie with your certificate there.
it. Well, it's for that. Yeah.
Finalization of my training, I just got $10. Here's what
So
I
you got a
found.
couple signs.
Here's my life.
Get them as,
And there's only 10 of that, 100 look at them.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, see you, Joe.
Take it easy now.
I did mine last year. I did it last year.
Oh, yeah. Back 2011. I did all my ICCs.
Or your exams.
No, I got my recertification, because from the time I took my first exam was due in 2012.
Put our info on it.
2009 was my first.
You want to have a,
Wow, they were my commercial.
Did Dale, any fire escape issue now?
2009, or 2009 is when I
All actually,
first.
How's Mateo?
yeah,
All
yes.
right. Very Rittenhouse.
I'm not even here.
Where's Rittenhouse at?
So he says, just go, come on down, I got 100, I got 10. Thank you. All right, thanks so much. I got 10 that I want
He's
to do.
still, his bag's still
I want
there,
to do a
so
church.
he's probably
Residents.
in the restaurant.
I want you to take me back down to where the fire
I
escape
need
was.
something to keep me awake for the ride home,
Yeah.
like a chocolate chip cookie.
Ready Club. The fire escape ready club.
Very, very. Don't forget your stuff, man. We'll see you again.
Come on.
Need another one?
Give it to my manager. He's got enough stuff already. He gets to go to San Francisco this weekend for a manager's conference. He'll be in San Francisco when I get back to work.
And then you're also gonna say, just to make everybody want to not freak out about you, just say, listen, anything we find, I don't have to fix it.
Can always use another.
I try to keep it free of rotation.
This one's starting to wear out,
That's
ain't
what we did last December, wasn't it?
I could have something to put my tablet in whenever I get it.
Free story.
And the year before was plumbing.
The guy doesn't have 20 grand.
It looked like in rotation, the 3-year rotation might be equal.
Yeah. And they put
Well,
scaffold
we'll
with
see.
staircases inside with railings.
Existing building it might be, but,
7-Eleven.
all right, I'll keep it in mind.
With the windows. Yeah. Now, that's a temporary stair. Now you might. Now, not in, everybody's not dumping the building, no, but then 30, 60, 90 days go by, and they're like,
braced it or something, okay.
you know what I'm saying?
They
So
have
you-
temporary.
Temporary. So you get into a construction site and there, and the fire escape is crap, and this building's been 2 years in renovation. You're like, dude, what's going on with this fire
And the
escape?
average scaffolding company got the bill.
All of them have it.
All of them have it.
Because they have the construction scaffolding, which is the little skinny stairs for the construction
Right.
guys, but they have full-blown stairs,
Temporary
7-Eleven, 3 feet wide, with full-blown railings and everything. They'll pick up windows, they'll pick up doors, they'll pick up anything on the building.
And I tell you, since there's nothing to break, now I gotta find out what they can do. If I don't fill it, they haven't been doing anything since that.
And you guys are poised to basically lead the
Yeah, I
state.
think so.
But all it needs
I
is,
think so.
and again, it's not to come in and fix everything, it's just to take a pulse right there.
I think so.
So you say, well, I just got some training, I was told to find 5 examples, so I'm coming down to see you, and we're gonna go do a look at 5 examples. A parking garage, a hospital, a church, a university site, a residential, 5 to 10, and that's all, you're just getting a spot. And you're like, and I got 7 buildings that were been signed off by some of the most expensive engineering firms, I'm just gonna go spot, you just taught me, I went back and I double checked, and some of the stuff that we have, some of the greatest credentials in the world sitting in my file, I walked in there and said, what the hell, this is crap. And they say, okay, and that's only 10. I have 100 to go look at, but the guy couldn't stay with me all
I'm
day.
telling you, I was back there thinking,
And then you say, and so you're the lead guy, he gets the glory because he's the department
Yeah,
chief.
I wanted to
But
be.
you're the lead guy that basically says, I'm gonna get the noise.
Right.
Now, everybody here that does the normal thing, yeah, there's a checklist. You get a fire escape, all you do is just step in, okay, do this, this, and this. And then, because you want that guy to learn how to handle fire escapes. You don't want to do his fire escape. You just want to basically double check that he's got. And you need to let him borrow your load test card because they don't even know they have one. And you get this, hey, dude, use the load test card. What's that? Can I get one? Yeah, you photocopy it. Here's your load test card and you keep yours. Because you get these, everybody has one of these. I didn't get one. You've always had one. You didn't know you had it. It says right in the code. Our code says it. All the codes, anybody can pull the load test card. Fire, building, health, you know what I'm saying? Section 8. Everybody, health, something else. Yeah, but it's gotta come in slow. So you have to pretend it's part of your continuing education training.
Well, I like that.
And then you
Obviously, you've done this before, because I'm trying to, I was back there.
That's why I say lean like this. You gotta lean
Well,
forward.
that's why
Because shit's coming.
I was back there
3 to
thinking,
5
okay, how
years.
can I sell it and say, because we're not doing anything, who else better, it's Pennsylvania than Philly, and we just had to, and I'm thinking, I know what occurred, and our unit actually went out, and we'll ask, and it'll go away. But we got a commissioner that's very political, so anything that can get him, and that'll give him positive attention. I got a director that's even hungrier. I mean, he's so narcissistic, I said, I'm gonna use his narcissism, because he could have the glory, I don't give a fuck. I don't like cameras and too much attention. But if I know that I'm kind of involved, I'm satisfied with that, and I could create
What?
something. But you're right, the way that, I was trying to think, the way to sell it like that, hey, boss, I had some training, he volunteered to come down and walk with me,
Yeah,
whatever.
finalize my training.
Right.
See, your training's not complete. This is not it. I now needed 5 cities to do the pilot program, and you want to see if Philly would be a good pilot program. But in order for him to complete his training, he wants me to come down here, and I need to pick for him 5 to 10 buildings, new and, from the past, from the present, and into the future. And I just need to see, he's gonna spot check with me to see if I can pick out fire escapes that were signed off, that were garbage, fire escapes from the present.
But you said sign off, we don't have any that are signed off, we weren't requiring. So why would we have any sign, we weren't requiring it. I don't think we were.
I'm trying to think.
You think we were? Because if that is, I'll tell you what, that's news to me. 'Cause
Well,
I'm not-
you have a code. Your code says, you don't have the 5-year rule. Your situation is that because you don't have a 5-year rule, you don't have these mandated 5-year certificates that
I'm
come. But you
betting-
have, I checked your code. He gave me your code.
Right, but that
You
doesn't
guys do
mean-
ICC 3406 and
But that
that's
doesn't
it.
mean we're really doing it. Here's what
Oh, yeah.
I'm betting, here's what I'm betting. Now, I personally never came across it, I never worked downtown until now with dangerous buildings. Before that, I've been a regular resident, more rat, so everything is rare, or
Right.
newer. So fire escapes, can't really
Yeah.
tell you that. When, if I ever, I've been on one particular, I mean, when I was a kid. What I'm betting is, knowing us, which is what we do in Philly, Philly's different in that I talk to these guys that are these smaller townships, and I think they're forced to take more ownership because it's 1 or 2 you guys.
Right.
One or two.
We got so many layers that we get away with fucking up, excuse the
Yeah.
language, because we got so many layers that it's.
You
like-
rely totally on third party.
So what I'm betting is that if anything occurred, we asked, and there was an issue, like a tenant or a client all complained, they sent a service request. We call, we'll say, not my background, give me a certification. To be honest with you, Philly, the most times we don't even really read them, I got a certification, you file it away, said certification,
Removed by law.
certification provided, the only thing I write is who provided it. And it's gotta be a PE usually. They say, give me PE by so-and-so, file it, close it.
So here's where
So
you're,
I'm betting that
here's where you're
that's-
gonna go in. You're gonna go in and say, listen, I just found out that all these fire escapes are at the age where they're falling by themselves through pigeons and snowfall. It's not a fall, or beach people are getting on. I just found out at this class that the IFC is coming down the pipe, so by the time we finally adopt the IFC, the 5-year rule is coming. So we can either wait for this 5-year rule to come, or because proactive and say, everybody in the country's 5-year rule in it, why aren't we need to do it now, but not wait for the state to tell us it's 5 years. We need a local ordinance that says, every building in Philly must have this 5-year rule, because that's what everybody else is doing, and we're not waiting for another catastrophe, because we need to take this debt and put a positive spin on it and says, hey, the rest of the country, coast to coast is now under this 5-year, and now the IFC just came in, oh, but we're still 7 years away from the IFC adoption. We don't care.
Well, don't
We're
forget
not
how
gonna
you were
wait.
tying in though too, but think of filling if you went, not just the fire escape and the death. What's really killing us and it doesn't go away is the building collapse, and the collapse is collapse. The public looks at it as a collapse. So the fire escape right after that building, which is still in grand jury stage and investigations and all kinds of shit happening. So because of that fear, trust me, right now, because we got dangerous building, now we're running into a little row home, partial collapses in the middle of the night, which we didn't do that. That would wait, that's all day. That's every day in Philly. Partial wall collapses of row homes.
Right.
In the hood, that's literally every day, a couple of times.
Right.
We wouldn't run with that. It would be the next day unless there was fire department running. Now we literally run. Why? Because everybody's scared. What I'm thinking, it could be tied into that whole thing. Now while they were, because I was back there thinking, I said, wait a minute, I might be able to do something out of this because no one's doing it. Now what I don't know, unless you know if you've been involved with Philly since that collapse, and I don't know what the Liberty chapter told you, you dealt with Robert Petro and those guys.
It was a year ago, it was Martin.
Brett Martin.
Yeah, Brett.
Brett Martin, he's a training officer.
Yeah, right.
Ralph Lee's a training officer for, Liberty chapter. Ralph DePietro's a very, very smart guy. I don't know what part he's taken in this. What I don't know is if they've done anything. I'll find out. You don't think they've done anything since then? You don't think they've done anything, what you
As
just
a matter of
learned?
fact, I called, after that collapse, I reached out to Brett, never called me back. Reached out to Ralph, never called me.
Reach out to Ralph.
And I sent the links to the class, say, hey, guys, we did this class.
Okay.
We had a longer class than this. This class, when you watch the Liberty chapter, I'm back, there's 50 guys in this class.
Well, then this is what I'm gonna do. Call me back when you settle in so we can arrange a time. I'll do it that way to open the door.
Right.
Then I'm gonna put you.
Yeah, just complete the training.
Yeah, I like that.
And as soon as
Done
your eyes
this-
go like
done
that,
this
say,
done this before, huh?
holy
Yeah.
shit.
And I'm gonna put you in contact through, as a result of this, we're gonna do this, and then I'm gonna put you in contact with the biggest ego narcissistic motherfucker looking for attention you've ever met. And that's the type of guy, I've done it before, I went to City 28. I'll take a guy like that, and so you can get the glory. As long as I get what I wanted, maybe I got a promotion on another job, or overtime, and you get all the glory. I don't like glory, I really don't like attention.
But if you head up that department, I always need one guy willing to take the scars and the scrapes, because you will get noise. And that's all, that one guy.
Well, I'm gonna try to
that
tie
wants
it in,
to
that I'm
solve-
up for promotion for supervision of this unit, of the dangers, so I'm thinking,
So-
I may be able to.
So by you going out and completing your training with me, say, listen, I just went out. Life safety concerns that I am now aware of in a block walk around. All I did was walk around.
So
one
the
block.
report.
I was down at the Rittenhouse area, and all I did was just did a walk around the radius.
Yeah, that's all you have to do.
And all of a sudden, from the training I got, I saw life safety concerns now. And so here's what we have to do. Do we write everybody a violation down the street? No, because
Yeah.
you'll be tarred and feathered.
Yeah.
But what we did, and what the guy said at the beginning of the class was, this is a tagging program. We need to know the current conditions of the fire escape systems everywhere. Very similar to when the fire department said, we need to know the existing conditions of every fire hydrant, because some of them are no longer functioning. So they went out and they basically, in a 6-month to a year process, they basically went to verify, not because of a fire, they just says, hey, this is a fire hydrant that we haven't tested in 75 years, we just want to know its general condition. Is it on or off? Now wait for a fire to tell us whether it's on or off. So you're doing the same thing, you're saying, we just want to start tagging all fire escapes, yellow, reds, or whites. And from there, over the next 3 to 5 years, we're gonna initiate this program. In the meantime, we're gonna initiate only the buildings that are actively doing something through a permit process, because those will be our automatic triggers for us to.
Isn't that too slow?
No, it's fast. Because what
Just
happens-
through permits?
Because if a permit in that street brings the whole, brings
We
attention to
set
the
up
whole.
this system, which we can do easily on our,
Yeah.
we're all computerized, obviously. So target it or tag it or whatever, that any permit within these geographical areas, like we do with this.
No, you just say any existing permit or new permit must, to close it, must have a copy of the certification. That's it. You understand?
How does that prevent what I'm expecting, is
No,
everybody just
no.
fucking lying
No.
or whatever?
No, because what happens is, it's automatic. So as you're getting resistance and whatever, you're trying to make the whole thing, the bigger
Right,
version,
right.
this is already automatic. It's bringing you attention to Spruce Street. to House Lane. Because when you're there, you're like, oh, I'm glad the permit triggered this thing. And you're looking at this thing, so you look behind and say, what the? You know what I'm saying, so as it brings you, then with your coalition with the fire department, health department, they're gonna be sending you leads anyway. Do you understand? You bring in leads that are automatically happening because somebody wants money. They're renting to the US, they're creating a condo, they've just flipped a new tenant into the building, there's a ownership conversion. These are all things that are gonna bring you, because all you're going there to ask, you know, it's the
Well,
great.
definitely on
I'm just
sale.
here, yeah.
Definitely on the
Right.
sale. That was just gonna say, on the properties are on the sale.
Right.
Definitely. If there's one time they called us on dangerous building violations, that been laying on that bill 5 years, I just had one. Dude got a violation, calls me, oh, can we get this closed? I'm thinking, I don't even remember this. Well, that's because another inspector wrote a violation 5 years ago, but then I look further, he's got a property cert active, which means he needs it for sale. You sold it, so now you're concerned. Oh, no, we gotta go look at what you did. I don't know, you're gonna pull the permit to fix.
So smoke detector guys, properties transfers, health department, it's safety. You know, the guy had a leaky, moldy situation, and he fixed it. And now he's ready to bring the tenants back in. He goes, great job, this, I just need a certificate. Oh, the molding's not, no, I need a 2 means of egress cert. Because I noticed that you have a fire escape on the outside, I just need a cert so I can let the tenants back in. He goes, what do you mean, dude? They were here for like 7 years. He goes, yeah, I know, but now they want to search for the fire
Well,
escape.
no different than we do on a fire sprinkler.
So,
When you do, I don't care how long it's been there, I don't care if it was just certified. If you do renovations, you're gonna certify it again.
okay, so with these, you're looking at a third to half of all your activity is automatic now. As it starts, all of a sudden, my neighbor tells me that the guy pulled a permit for a light bulb, and all of a sudden now he has to certify his fire escape. And I have a fire escape, you don't think I'm like, oh shit. You mean that's coming, the word gets out.
Right, the word gets out.
Now, the real estate agent said, dude, I just went to a closing and I went, I was counting my commissions already, and all of a sudden, it couldn't go any further, because the guy, the closing attorney on the other side said, this is all great, here's your $8.8 million, I just need to search for the fire escape, you can take this check, you're good. The what? All of a sudden, there's an email going out to every real estate agent, said, dude, from now on, make sure that, when you're listing this property, if they have a fire escape, you better have a cert ready, because you can't sell it. So, you gotta go for the automatics, because when you go in, like, I'm gonna start
But we
writing this
started-
whole street, you're gonna get.
No,
step in the head.
especially in Philly, and we're gonna be downtown. So everybody's connected, everybody, do you know who I think I am? That's usually they lead it with that, I'm like, fuck, everybody, it's like.
So that's why you need to start with just let the
We're gonna-
automatics speak.
Well, start specifically now with, hey, I gotta complete this training, I think this will be good for our unit, let me figure it out. Then from there, it's like, my God, boss, you're gonna see what the fuck we ran into, we're gonna have to do it, man.
Right.
And you said most of the stuff, since I know the next thing will be put together procedure or something, or something, sounds like most of it is in somewhere, I can find it from
Oh,
what I
yeah.
can get.
Well, the best part is, like, I got, well, what are you talking about? I said, well, who do you want to talk to? You want to talk to a fire guy or a building guy from another state that's already scratched his nose and banged his head?
Right.
What do you want? Richmond,
I'm not-
Virginia? You want Baltimore? Where you want to get? Oh, look, and you're always going to be speaking with somebody that's a Bruce. You know what I'm saying? You're always going to be the head of the association. You know what I'm saying? Is the one that's going to basically, oh yeah, he came and did a class and this is what he did. But sadly, what happens? We do a lot of these classes, but we still need to take it to the next level, and that is push it along, because a lot of these guys are not leaders, they're followers. So they need those 5 guys willing to go into the mouth of the political arm and the economical backlash, and that's why I say.
And I think the time is just perfect right now, Philly, what's going on, it's fucking perfect. Trust me, you're back there talking, I'm thinking, oh, that's my day is here, right? And then I thought about this guy I'm talking about, I said, I know if I go to him, as long as I give him, and I'm more than willing, here, take it.
Yeah, he has to have a positive spin on it and say, listen, we're aside from being behind the times in every code situation, because we have this hands-off mentality on our entire code book.
Yeah, wait till something
But you know
happens.
what? Just on this fire escape thing, what's the rest of the nation doing? They're doing this. Well, we're not even waiting for that. We're gonna start implementing this process, and we're gonna ease into it. So now we're just gonna make it a checklist item for every department that can help us. Building, you're either gonna give us a cert at the beginning or at the end. Otherwise, we can't close your permit. Health, they can fix all the mold they want. At the end of it, they need a copy of the cert, because it's a safety concern if there's not too many vehicles. So they're gonna help. Fire department, every sprinkler, every smoke, every alarm, every extinguisher must have a copy of the cert on file. Meaning that you're using any of these things, most likely you're gonna have to run through a second of these vehicles. Housing, Section 8 housing, you can't get into a building unless it's safe. So government money people, and the health department told me about this. It's not really the Section 8 housing, it's all the senior citizen housing and living government bullshit that they have out there. They tend to get these old mansions and they put all these senior citizens in these housing situations to take care of them. And he goes, they all have fire escapes, they all have, and he goes, you shut down that money flow, and everybody freaks out. He goes, so health department, basically walking into all your health facilities and say, okay, I just need to verify you have 2 means a year. Well, all we're doing is just digging a hole and putting a new oil tank in the backyard. Yeah, that's why I'm here. Daycare. I'm down 21 Schoolhouse Lane. You know, the guy had a fire escape on the back, so we have some, I have a list. You know what I have? I have a list. I got a list of fire escapes that we came down to Philly, because we inspect this once. We have a Boston office, a Jersey City office that does the tri-state, an LA office, but I've inspected from Seattle. But I have maybe 15 to 20 fire escape exams that I've done in the past 5 years. There are disasters. And when I try to get you guys have all this. There's the north side, there's the south side, there's the districts, and basically say, okay.
But I'm dangerous, but the unit I got it, okay. But the unit I'm with is citywide dangerous buildings.
Now.
Right. No, but the unit's always existed. That's where I'm at. I just transferred there about a year ago from regular inspector.
Right.
Right. Before that, no. Philly's a different animal. Nobody.
So think about this. You're in dangerous buildings. Mm-hmm. Any building doesn't have a 7 means of egress, just became a dangerous building.
I got to tackle it from the structural issue almost.
Yeah.
It'll evolve to the other, but for me to get in the door, I got to tie it into. I want to tie it into that collapse. That's how I get Mr. Narcissist. Because he's going to jump all over that, the commissioner's going to jump over that, because it's hot right now. Now, I didn't know if something was happening, but you just answered. It sounds, you're pretty sure that if Ralph didn't reach out to you or nothing like that, then nothing must be happening.
No, I think it's nothing that's happening. You guys got, there was a lawsuit within 3 weeks of that collapse, man. And I'm sure that all the words that kept coming out of the news pieces, it's been 50 years since, you guys have been in here.
Well, like, they put it on us. They put it on wireless and other, the news kills us, but we're used to that.
Yeah.
But maybe you're right, then you back away, because also sometimes, but you still have to be proactive, because you learn, how does code evolve? Code evolves from tragedies usually, right? Some of the worst tragedies have been,
So now you need to take this tragedy that occurred, that's okay, you know what? It just didn't happen here, guys. Colorado Springs, some guy got decapitated, a fireman fell off in Chicago. Yeah, we're not in it. So you know what? Here's why it is happening, because everything now is 75 years old. It's not no longer if it's going to happen, now it's when. Because of it, and strictly of age.
And I mean,
it's all age.
And you actually feel that way. What just happened will happen again.
Oh, it's coming.
To us. The odds are in a city that big would always be about the same that it will happen.
You walk around with me in Rittenhouse Square.
And it sounds like you know it already. You know the area?
Yeah, just walk down there, and I'm going to show you a collapsed bracket over there. I'm going to walk here a little bit more. I'm going to show you a guy that replaced his fire escape and just put it right across the street from that job. Is a guy that put expansion anchors into the wall, not 3/8 or not
Just a regular
3/4,
expansion anchor?
3/8
Redhead.
a redhead into the freaking wall on this new.
Like a redhead.
And I'm like, okay, as soon as you load this with people in firemen, because again, those expansions are right
So
on the
then,
river.
we do that,
Yeah.
we do this, I compile what I would, they love pictures and stuff, and I'll say, oh my God, as a result of what I found, I think, and then it evolved from there.
Not only that, then I come down and say, okay, here's from 5 years ago. Here's 10, 15, 20 fire escapes that we examined, that we tried to give to somebody in Philly, nobody would accept it, you know what I'm saying? Because we like, who, and the whole law, who would connect you and, not, right? And so I'll bring those back and say, hey, would you like to go look at these again and see what got done? But now when you reinvestigate those, you may open the file and say, did anybody ever give me a shirt on that? Nobody.
No.
You go back to the building, and the building is still filled with children or whatever, you say, and then you go to the back and say, okay, so this came out 5 years ago, and these people purposely ignored it for 5 years. So I have a history of Philly, a current, and then a future, and that's where you say, play the game. It's not that we didn't know about this, we chose to ignore this.
Well, let me tell you, I know how the major cities, you deal with other major cities,
Yeah.
and the rest of these guys, when I talk to them, they can't do it, because these small townships, you can't get away with it. So I don't know how other major cities do.
You guys are tougher, small, I got a lot of.
No, they're better, because they got more accountability.
Yeah, but they move faster. They don't
And they
have the
got-
layers
they don't have
of
the-
bureaucracy.
And here's why, you know how this, 28 years of this, you know how the city functions, and I've worked in corrections before, same thing, it didn't run to the city department. The city functions off of plausible deniability. I don't want you, especially the supervisor, to peg me and prove that you talked to me. I'd rather, I don't know nothing about it. And I said, this whole city is functional, plausible deniability. I don't know, I didn't know, you know, until something occurs. And even now, you can't pin it on no one. You can't pin on the building inspector because we never did it. If anything, you could put it on the department for not having a system in place, a mechanism. But that's why they did that. I'm surprised that Ralph did it, because Ralph's a real smart guy and pretty high there, but they look at it like, I don't need it.
Yeah, don't touch that.
Don't touch it, right.
Don't
Whereas
open it.
I'm back there thinking, wait a minute, I'm trying to move up, I'm due for a promotion, it'll still be within dangerous buildings. So I'm wondering, can I tie that in and make that evolve into something? And just, if they promote me, I'll put it under me. Make that one guy.
And that's why I say, as we go and finish the training, you make it part of a checklist item, so nobody's gonna see this coming. Say, I'd like to make this part of a checklist item, what do you think? You're not saying that there's a bad fire chief out there, say, hey, I'd like to make this part, hey, health department, I'd like your cooperation in this, I need you to make this as part of your safety requirement as a final. Otherwise, you'll send me some leads, can you do that? Sure, can I
Why
tie
health
it?
department? Because I can't tie that in.
Health department.
Yeah, why?
Because they have a health thing, so when they get somebody out of a building, in order to put them back into that building, what was the issue? Mold, rats, whatever the situation. Then all of a sudden, they need to verify that they have to meet the egress for that apartment.
So maybe what you refer to as the health department, we refer to our housing inspection department?
Housing inspector.
Is that what's
I
going
said
on?
that, I said, whoever deals with mold, health,
I
safety.
mean, we got a health
safety
department,
conditions.
but general,
Unless it's Board of Health, Building County Board of Health does that. Never decided. Board of Health has to.
so I gotta find out, because we also have housing inspectors.
So I
Remember,
mentioned
I got a lot of inspectors.
Housing,
Yeah.
so
Our
there's-
housing guys are the ones that go out on maintenance issues,
Exactly.
water, heat, look,
Right.
that's our element of
And
housing.
so they go there and do a heat complaint. Great, okay, Mr. Landlord, you got it on? Great, okay, now, before I leave, I should confirm we got 2 means of egress here. Yeah. Here's your main stair, here's your second,
There you
it's a
go.
fire escape, okay, in order to close this file, I just need to attach. I'm not ordering anything, mister. Oh, the fire escape's in the back. I don't even want to go look at it. I just need a copy of the cert so I can close this file, because you fixed your heat, good job. I just need a cert that says that these guys from this heated apartment can get out in 2 means. So do you have two means of egress here? Because here's the thing where it triggers, saying, because in order for me to fix the heat, I had to pull a permit. Because he pulled a permit, he triggered OSHA 1910.37. In order to pull that permit, he needs to now bring to close his permit for the heat that he just fixed, he needs to attach a certificate. So he needs it, you already have it.
We can almost
You see how everything ties back into it?
We can almost do one better, tied into yours. Ours already, we use, I don't know if you guys know it, I know Phil just did, our permit system is called the Hanson system. And you can add or delete required inspections in it. Like we just added, this unit that I may be getting is called the Neighborhood Task Force. As a result of people complaining about pedestrian time, open walkways, permits not posted.
Yeah.
So under all the building inspections, you know, framing, boom, insulation, they just added task force inspection that is done by the task force. The inspector in the field cannot close or waive that inspection. The task force has to. How easy would it be to add it during the permitting process, if it has a fire escape or a second,
A fire escape that's either low tested or certified.
Add it into Hanson. Now that permit can't close
That's
until
what-
someone goes in.
That's what Boston did.
I like that.
At the end,
I like that.
they said, you can't close your permit. So that was the initial. We didn't piss them off.
And that's
at the beginning.
enough in the beginning, ain't it?
Right, you put it at the
Just go
end.
with that.
But then, as soon as it's sitting at the end, you said, you're gonna say, you know what? These things shouldn't be at the end. This thing should be part of your permit process at
Right.
the beginning.
But start the other way. You're
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
start.
come
Get
on,
it in.
Come
That's
to
how you
the
get-
ass and say, hey, how you doing? I'm just here to wipe up shit, man. That's all
Right.
I'm doing. They're like, oh.
That's how you get it in there.
You come in their mouth, they're like, good, what are you doing? You
Right,
know,
when you kind of start.
You
Oh,
come
we got
in,
enough, right.
you know, and then that's why fire prevention, you hit them on the smokes. So this is very meticulous and methodical. It's just, you need fire prevention to department where we need a leader at the fire prevention, say, hey, I need your help, but I need you guys to add one checklist item to your smoke detector sign-offs for people to occupy. What is that? I need you to ask on your checklist for a copy of the CO. I don't want you to order any certs, certification for the fire, I just want a copy. And you'll sign off on it anyway. Yeah, I'm either gonna get it back with a cert, or it's gonna come back with a blank piece of paper. Anything that you submit to me with a blank piece of
But
paper.
you throw me off on something, you interrupted. Either you're assuming or you know what I don't know, that already is, that's even required, because it isn't, right?
It's not.
Okay, it's not.
You
So
bring-
all that, so even.
None of this exists.
Okay, even the building owners are gonna be